What you notice defines what you believe exists. Most of the time, you assume what you see is complete. You look around, notice what stands out, and it feels like that's everything that's there. It just feels like reality. But when you pause, something feels slightly off. You know you don't notice everything. If you're only seeing part, why does it feel like you're seeing all of it? Attention works more like a filter than a window. It removes most things so you can focus on a few. This is necessary, otherwise everything would feel overwhelming. Your experience is shaped more by what gets filtered out than what gets included. That part doesn't feel obvious at first. The more you notice something, the easier it becomes to notice it again. Patterns strengthen. Your brain starts expecting it, and it appears everywhere. If you never notice something, it stays invisible, even if it's right in front of you. Reality doesn't change, but your access to it does. With learning new ideas, at first, you don't see them anywhere. Then once you understand them, you notice them constantly. They didn't suddenly appear. They were always there. The only thing that changed was your attention. That feels uncomfortable because how much you see depends on what you're already looking for. Over time, repeated attention creates an illusion. The things you notice most start to feel like the full picture. If you keep seeing the same patterns, they define what you think is normal. And once something feels normal, you stop questioning it. Beliefs don't just come from facts. They come from exposure. If your attention keeps returning to the same information, your brain treats that as evidence. Even if it's incomplete. That means your beliefs are not just shaped by what exists, but by what you consistently notice existing. It's easy to believe your perspective is neutral, that you're just seeing things as they are. But when you really think about it, it becomes less certain. Because your attention is not neutral. It's influenced by habits, past experiences, expectations. So what you see is not just reality, it's filtered reality. If beliefs are tied to attention, then changing them requires noticing something different. But that's not easy. Your attention is already trained. It naturally goes back to what it's familiar with. So even if something new is right in front of you, you might not see it fully. Are you missing things because they're not there or because you're not looking for them? When you intentionally shift your attention, something changes slowly. At first, it feels forced. You're looking for things that don't feel natural to notice. But over time, those things start to stand out more. Patterns appear where you didn't see them before. What once felt rare starts to feel common. There's also resistance. When you notice something that doesn't fit your current belief, it feels less real. Even if it's clearly there. That's because your brain is trying to stay consistent with what it already recognizes, so it downplays what doesn't match. Trying to force a new belief rarely works. It feels artificial. But expanding attention is different. You're not trying to convince yourself of something. You're just allowing yourself to notice more. And over time, that changes what feels real without forcing it. At some point, you realize that what feels real is not fixed. It's shaped by where your attention goes. That realization doesn't immediately change everything, but it changes how you look at things. You stop assuming your view is complete, and that alone opens up more than you expect. It's easy to go through life without ever questioning this, because your perception feels natural. It doesn't feel constructed. But once you start noticing how selective attention really is, it becomes harder to ignore how much it shapes your understanding of everything else. What you notice does more than guide your focus. It defines what feels real to you. And that doesn't mean reality is changing. It means your access to it is. Once you see that, even slightly, it becomes harder to assume that what you're seeing is the full picture. And that awareness is where everything starts to expand. Thanks for watching.